Hi guys, thanks for watching again. So in this video I'm going to show you how to do a fish biryani. This is another one from my book, The Island Kitchen. It's a Mauritian recipe, something I've learned from watching my mom at home. So it's pretty easy. Well, I don't know if you can call making a biryani easy, but I've tried to make it as easy as possible for you guys to make at home. So I have the ingredients to start with is ginger. I've got some garlic cloves. I had some turmeric paste in the little bowl before, and in the bigger bowl I had some fish. And you can use any kind of firm white fish for this recipe, and I've used cod, which is easy to get from the supermarket, so kind of thought let's just go with that. So we've got, basically we're going to chop off like our garlic and our ginger, and I've got some fresh coriander leaves as well, and I'm using some coconut yogurt today. So you can use natural yogurt or Greek yogurt, whichever one you prefer, but I'm using coconut yogurt because my daughter is dairy free, so I've kind of been using coconut yogurt a lot more these days, and I'm finding it really great. It adds a really nice extra coconutty flavour to the dish. So for a marinade, it's great to use that. So this is the garlic ginger, and that's going to go into our marinade for the fish. So finely chop the garlic cloves. I've just done 2 garlic cloves there, and about say a 2 centimetre piece of ginger. So just peel it and chop it into pieces like that. There we go, into little bits. And then coriander. I love coriander, my favourite herb in the whole wide world. And I try to add it into everything I can possibly add it in. So we just adds a really nice flavour. So I've kind of chopped the leaves, but I'm going to add in the stalks as well. So just finely chopping that as much as you can, and then I just mix it together with the garlic and ginger, because it's all going to go in the same place anyway. So at this point you can actually also add some chilies as well if you want it quite spicy. So you can add some green chilies or some chili powder to this at this point if you wanted to add that flavour into your biryani. So I'm going to add it into my spice mix a bit later on. So I'm just going to put a bit of salt in here to help it marinate, and then add in my coconut yogurt. So for my coconut yogurt, I'm doing about 200 mils or so of coconut yogurt goes into there, and then you just want to kind of give that a real good mix with all the fish and make sure the fish is covered with all that yogurt really well, so then it kind of permeates into it when it's marinating in the fridge. And then sprinkle over some turmeric. So turmeric's great for biryani. It adds so much gorgeous yellow colour, and it's quite pungent as well, so you don't want it over spice. But thing is with biryanis as well, it's you can't actually not really with over spicing, because with biryanis is that when it's cooked you do kind of lose a little bit of the spice, so you do, I guess, want to add more. So yeah, just add that, or add whatever you want to add into there now if there's anything extra. Then just we're going to cover it, and we're going to pop it in the fridge for about half an hour or so. Okay, and then after half an hour we're going to add in the spice mix. So my spice mix is really fragrant. It's flavours of Mauritius. So we've got cinnamon in there, I've got curry leaves, cloves, cardamom pods, just the seeds only, some nutmeg, cumin seeds and coriander. So that's the majority of my spices. And what I have done is I've kind of toasted it for 30 seconds into a pan, just to kind of release the flavours and aroma, and then just put it in a coffee grinder or a spice grinder and just whizzed it up till it's a fine powder, and then just mix it all in. It's the best thing ever. It smells amazing. It's got so much fragrance spiciness to it, and I love that combination of spices. So yeah, we just give that a good mix. All of these spices you can find in Mauritius, literally they have like cinnamon, well, the Seychelles, they have cinnamon trees in their back gardens, and they literally just go into their back garden and pluck off a leaf or two and use it into their cooking. Or curry leaves, same as well, like curry leaves in the back garden, just pluck them off and add them into their food. So it's great to have a larder, if you say like that. So the next thing is that I'm going to do some rice. Obviously rice is very important, so I've put on some just basmati rice. I find that's the best for biryani. It's really great. So I've whacked that on there. In the other pan I've got some vegetable oil, and I'm going to add in some ghee. So I've added in about, like, say 1 tablespoon or so, 2 tablespoons of ghee, and it's just ghee is like clarified butter, so it just adds this really like buttery flavour, I find, to onions when you're frying them, and I think that's like essential when you're doing a biryani. It has to have that ghee kind of buttery flavour. So yeah, I mean, if you can find ghee in your Asian supermarket, that would be great, and you can just literally keep a tub of it in the larder and it will last a while. So yes, it's really great with the onions. So just fry the onions off, quite a lot of onions, because it will reduce down, and we like a lot of onions in the biryani. So I fried the onions off until they're like not burnt but slightly crisp as well. So they're just on another plate. The next thing is to do some potatoes. So I've cut the potatoes in smaller cubes because I'm making quite a long, big batch of biryani, and I wanted it to cook quicker as well. So these are like 2 centimetre cubes or something like that, or a little bit less. So yeah, I just fried them off again in the ghee and some oil as well till they're brown and crisp. As you can see, the onions are looking great, and they're the potatoes, really nice crisp on the outsides. It gives it a bit of like robust texture when it goes in the biryani. So they're just like not cooked completely, but nearly cooked. So we've got some mint leaves and coriander. So this is kind of preparing for our assembling of the biryani. And so we use like mint and coriander a lot. And I think mint is just so great in the biryani. It just uplifts it, gives it a great flavour. So I just finely chop the mint and the coriander. And then I've got some saffron. So saffron again gives it this really beautiful colour, and it's gorgeous kind of reddish orange hue. Just gently bruise them or crush them in a pestle and mortar and add them with like some hot water. Leave that to like infuse for a bit. And then I had some frozen peas. Frozen's fine. If you've got fresh, that's great, but it doesn't really matter. So we're going to assemble. We've got a bit of oil on the bottom of the pan, and then I'm going to just to kind of so it doesn't stick completely to the pan at the bottom when you're cooking it, for the last couple of minutes. So all the pre-cooked rice that I added a cinnamon stick in just to make it even more fragrant, just added in like a layer of rice first. So as I was saying before, I use basmati. It's just so flavourful. I would definitely use it for biryani rather than using long grain or any other type of white rice. But so that goes on first at the bottom, and then we're going to assemble it with the other ingredients. So we've got the fish. Let's not forget the fish. So I took the fish out probably about 10 minutes before I was going to layer it, just so it comes up to room temperature a little bit. So that's the marinated fish. It looks great. You can see it's taken on that beautiful yellow colour of the turmeric, and it's got all the spices infused into it as well. And it does kind of soak up that bit of flavour, even if it is like 30 minutes or so. So this is very like a quick style biryani to make. I find like on the weekends or something, and any leftovers can be eaten the next day. It's fine. So I'm just going to layer in my fish pieces. So put them on top of the rice so they're really snug, and just scrape in a bit of that extra yogurt as well. on there with all those flavours. You don't want to waste them, so there we go. Just kind of spread it all over. And then the next thing I think is the onions. So the onions are, like I said, you have to have onions for biryani. So they're not completely like burnt, but they are kind of crisp slightly, some of them. And they've just got that buttery ghee flavour to them. So I'm going to do another layer of onions. I'm saving some for the end, so do like half and then leave half. And the potatoes, all the potatoes go on top, nice and snugly. There we go, small pieces of potatoes. I find they cook so much quicker. It's nice to have, you know, the typical biryani, they might use like larger sized potatoes and you might just get one piece, but in this way you get like a couple of pieces or so. So we've got some mint and some coriander sprinkled on top, just for extra flavour, and it's already looking so nice and green, colourful. Then the last bit of rice goes on top. You kind of just want to use that rice to cover all the ingredients there, so you can just barely see them there, so they're all kind of nice and snug. That's it. And then there we go. That looks good. And then I think like the last-ish thing is the peas. We got some frozen peas, which I said before, just great to use if you haven't got fresh frozen. Always have a bag of frozen peas in the freezer. They could be so useful anytime. So that, and then the last of the onions go on as well. There we go. Just layer the last bits. Amazing. And then we have, I think the saffron goes on next for just to add that bits of colour. Oh, I added the last bits of herbs on there. There you go. Just to kind of layer it up even more. That's cool. Alright, and then we go to the saffron. Beautiful saffron juice. Just pour it over and just look at the colour. That rice is just going to completely soak up that beautiful colour. It's amazing. Literally have used a whole jar of saffron. Like you can get a jar of saffron in the supermarket. I've just used that. There we go, soaked in that water for quite a while. Strands and everything goes in. Such an aromatic spice. And then, so the last bit is just, you just dot a little bit of butter or ghee around on the top of the biryani, like so. There you go, and this will just add loads more flavour. It's all about flavour. Adds a bit more flavour and butteriness to the rice. And then that's good. There we go, and then I'm just going to put some foil on top. And then I'm just going to put the lid on top of that. I know the traditional methods are sometimes they put like dough around the edges to seal it in, or like a tea towel and then foil and then like layer it up. So you've got different methods for this, but a foil and just like the lid on was fine. I popped it on the hob and then I cooked it for about another 15 minutes or so. There we go, and then it got time to unveil it. So I cooked it for 15 minutes and I kind of let it sit for about another 5-10 minutes just to kind of steam the extra, to check, like to double check that the rice and the potatoes are all steamed and cooked through. And then you can unveil it all and literally just use a fork to kind of gently lift up everything, those layers. There you go. Because it's fish, it might tend to break a little bit, but that's fine. There we go. Kind of try to keep it intact as possible, but this is just a great way to make a biryani. Perfect, and there you go. Right guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Please like, subscribe and comment below. Thank you.